Hello, boys and girls. This is Monday, and we are ready to begin our new week in our Wonders reading series. This is week 3, unit 1, and let me share my presentation with you. Okay, so here we are, and our essential question this week is, how do people from different cultures contribute to a community? So how do we add things to our communities? So let's take a look at a little video. Go.
Communities. How do people from different cultures contribute to a community? These Native American dancers are sharing a traditional dance from their culture with their communities. People can also share their culture's traditional foods. People in the community can learn about another culture while enjoying a delicious meal. There are many ways people from different cultures can contribute to their community, like the Chinese dancers in this parade. They are having fun sharing their culture with their community.
So when we talk about sharing with our community, what is a community? So community is the area where we live, the people that make up that area, the other people who live there, and we all come together to form a community. So let's take a look at some of our vocabulary words for this week. Remember that you need to know these to better understand our stories, and also for our quiz on Friday. So let's take a look at these words and see what they mean. Admires.
Admires. When someone admires something you have done, he or she likes it. My family admires my good test grades. What do you admire about a friend?
So my family admires my good test grade. That's our first word. Our next word is classmate.
Classmate. A classmate is someone who is in your class at school. Classmate. A classmate is someone who is in your class at school. Don and his classmate Maria always eat lunch together. What things do you do with a classmate?
So unfortunately, right now, we can't do that many things with our classmate. Only when we are together during our meet time can we do things with our classmates. But hopefully soon, we will all be back together. Okay, our next word is community.
Community. Many people in my community work together. Community. A community is a place where people live, work, and play together. Many people in my community work together. What do you like about your community?
So our community might be Prescott Valley, or it might be a smaller area, maybe our neighborhood we think of as a community. There are many different communities that we are parts of. Contribute.
Contribute. Mom will contribute clothes to people who can use them. Contribute. When you contribute something, you give money or help. Mom will contribute clothes to people who can use them. What could you contribute to a bake sale?
Maybe you could bake some cookies and contribute those.
Practicing. Kyle has been practicing, and now he can play lots of songs.
So Kyle looks like he plays the piano or keyboard.
Practicing. When I am practicing, I do something again and again. Kyle has been practicing, and now he can play lots of songs. What skill can you improve by practicing?
And our next word is pronounce.
Pronounce. Cindy can pronounce her name in another language.
Pronounce. When you pronounce a word, you say the sound correctly. Pronounce. When you pronounce a word, you say the sound correctly. Cindy can pronounce her name in another language. How do you pronounce your last name?
So pronounce is say something correctly. So if I pronounce your name incorrectly, please correct me so that I can practice saying it correctly.
Scared. When you are scared, you are afraid of something. Our dog hides during storms because he is scared. What do you do when you feel scared? Scared. When you are scared, you are afraid of something.
There's their dog hiding during the storm. Is your dog afraid of storms? My dog is not very afraid of storms, but I've had dogs in the past that were.
Tumbled. The ripe tomatoes tumbled out of the big basket onto the ground. Tumbled. When I lost my balance, I tumbled and fell. The ripe tomatoes tumbled out of the big basket onto the ground. What does tumbled mean?
And those are our words for this week. So we need to understand the meaning of admires, classmate, community, contribute, practicing, pronounce, scared, and tumbled. So remember, there will be a quiz on Friday where you'll be expected to show me that you understand what each of these words means. All right, our story for today is called Room to Grow. Okay, let's take a look at this one.
Genre: narrative nonfiction. Room to grow. Our new home in Portland.
So our genre is narrative nonfiction. We've been reading fiction stories, but this is nonfiction. What does that mean? That means that this is a true story. This is a story that really happened. It is nonfiction. It is not made up. A narrative, kind of like when you wrote your personal narrative last week, you were telling something about yourself. So this is a nonfiction story where someone is telling about themselves. So they will be using words like I and me, just like you did when you were writing your personal narrative.
Essential question: how do people from different cultures contribute to a community? Read how one family helps their community grow.
All right, so let's get started.
Spring in the city. My name is Kiku Soto. Last spring, my family and I moved from the country to the big city. Our new home in Portland had no yard. There wasn't even a tiny plot of land, so Mama made an indoor garden. First, she and Papa planted seeds in pots. Then they hung them from hooks. Next, they crammed plants onto shelves. Green vines tumbled over desks. Soon our house had plants everywhere. At first I was scared to start school. I was afraid no one would be my friend. But I soon met a classmate. Jill Hernandez and I were practicing reading aloud one day. She helped me say her last name, and I helped her pronounce mine. The next day, we were best friends. Jill spent lots of time at my house.
All right, so
Map of
Kiku.
Oregon. Key. Dot. City. Star. Capital. Blue line. River. Map labels. Washington. Pendleton. Portland. Salem. Eugene. Oregon. Ashland.
All right, so Kiku lives in the state of Oregon, and she has moved from the country to the city of Portland. Can you find Portland on this map? Good. All right, we have lots of vocabulary words on this page. So tumbled, we learned tumbled was mean to like fall out. So the green vines tumbled over the desk. So they fell out of their pots. They didn't fall completely out. They were still planted there, but they grew down and tumbled down over the desk. At first she was scared. So to be scared means to be afraid. She was afraid to start school. She was afraid that no one would be her friend. But soon she met a classmate, so someone who was also in her class, and when they were practicing reading aloud. So practicing means to do something over and over. And so we are practicing reading every day. And I hope that you are practicing some of your multiplication facts at home. The next word is pronounce. So pronounce is to say something correctly. Okay, let's go on and see what happens in our story.
An idea for a garden. One afternoon, Jill and her mother came to visit Mama and Papa and me. First, they saw our beautiful potted plants. Jill's mother said, "Jill admires your indoor garden. She has told me so much about it." We all sat down while Mama served tea. First, she put green tea into the tea bowl. Then she added hot water and stirred. She handed the bowl to Jill's mother and bowed. Mama's special tea bowls.
Okay, so here is a picture to help us understand what the tea bowl is and what it looks like. Let's keep going.
My mother taught me how to make tea, said Mama. She also taught me how to plant a traditional Japanese garden. I learned to make the most of a small, compact space. All of a sudden, Jill's mother smiled. "Can you help us with a project?" she asked. "Our community wants to plant a garden. Our plot is very small. There is so much we want to grow." Papa looked at Mama, and they both bowed. "Yes," they said. "Grandmother in Japan."
Okay, so what does Jill's mother want Kiku's mother to help with? Yeah, she wants her to help to plant a community garden because she obviously knows how to use a small space to grow lots of plants. So let's look at our vocabulary words on these pages. Jill admires your indoor garden, so she likes it. And here we have that word community that keeps coming up. So in our community, our area, our group of people who live in that area, they want to plant a garden for everyone to enjoy. So let's continue.
A garden grows. First, we had a meeting with the community. Everyone agreed to contribute. Some people brought seeds, tools, and dirt. Then the next day, we met and started our garden. Papa built long open boxes. Next, we filled them with dirt. The tallest box went close to the back wall. The boxes got shorter and shorter. The shortest box was in the front. All the plants will get sunlight without making shade for the others, Mama said. Papa building boxes. Jill and I planting seeds.
So here they are working to make the community garden.
Then we used round, flat stones to make a rock path. Papa said that in Japan, stones are an important part of a garden. Finally, we planted the seeds. Jill and I worked in the garden all summer. Our community grew many different vegetables. At the end of the summer, we picked enough to have a cookout. Mama brought a big pot of miso and vegetable stew. Everyone thanked Mama and Papa for their help. They brought a bit of Japan to Portland. I was so proud. Look what we picked.
So look at this. They grew lots and lots of vegetables. Now let's take a look at this last vocabulary word, which is contribute. So contribute is to give something. So everyone agreed to give something to help make the garden. Some people gave seeds, some people gave tools, some people gave dirt. Okay, let's look at make connections.
Make connections. What did Kiku's family do to help their new community? What parts of their culture did they share? How can you and your family contribute to your community?
So Kiku's family helped the community by showing them how to grow lots of vegetables in a small space, because that is what they were used to doing in Japan. So they shared part of their culture about gardens, and they shared the importance of stones in a garden in Japan. So think about how you and your family contribute to the community. Okay. Do you do things with the school? That's part of your community. Do you do things with your church? That's part of your community. So there are lots and lots of ways that we can contribute to our communities. So one of the comprehension skills that we're going to be working on this week is asking and answering questions. So as you're reading, ask yourself questions. So think about, why is that happening? What does that mean? So good readers ask themselves questions all the time while they're reading. And we're going to talk more about that later in the week. Okay, and we did talk about our genre being narrative nonfiction. It is an autobiography. So an autobiography is just a type of narrative nonfiction, and it tells a true story of a person's life in the order that it happened. It is written by that person. That's what auto means. And it uses the words I and me. So if it was just a biography, it would be a story about a real person written by someone else. But an autobiography means it is written by that person. All right, we're going to stop sharing this and move on to a couple of our worksheets. So one of the first worksheets you're going to work on is vocabulary, because on Monday is when we start with our new vocabulary list. So let's see if we can present that one. All right, so here is our vocabulary sheet for this week. And we'll go to the top. Here are the words that we have been talking about: admires, classmate, community, contribute, practicing, pronounce, scared, and tumbled. So we're going to use a word from the box to answer each question, and then use the word in a sentence to make sure that you are answering both parts. So we're going to use a word from the box to answer the question, and then use that word in a sentence. So let's take a look at the first one together. What is another word for afraid? So we're going to look at our vocabulary words and find a word that means the same as afraid. Ah, I see it. It's scared. I'm going to type scared in the box. Maybe I don't have a box there. So I'm going to come to here. I'm going to backspace my type here, and I'm going to write scared. because that is my word for afraid. But then I need to use that word in a sentence. So I might say, I am scared of heights. I don't like high places. That's true. In fact, I don't like high places, and I am a little scared of heights. So you are going to continue to do the next 7 on your own. What word can describe a friend who sits next to you at school? So first you're going to type the word, and then you're going to use that word in a sentence. All right, moving on to our next worksheet. Let's look at our phonics. So here is our phonics worksheet. Make this one a bit bigger also. Okay, so phonics practice. We're going to shade the spelling words using the following code. So we're looking at long vowels this week and words that have a long vowel and end in E. So if I have a long A, remember long vowels say their name. Long A says A. Long I says I. Long O says O. Long U says U or oo. We're going to use these colored boxes to shade in each word according to this code. So if it is a long A, we're going to pull a orange box over. If it is a long I, we're going to pull a pink box over. If it is a long O, we're going to pull a blue box over. And if it is a long U, sorry, we are going to pull a yellow box over. So let's take a look. Date. Day. Does it say A? It does. So let's look here. Long A. We're going to grab one of our orange boxes and put it right over our word. So it is highlighted in orange. Wise. Wise. I. That's a long I. So we're going to pull a pink box over. And our next one is hesitate. Hesitate. A, another orange box. Attitude. Ooh, attitude. So that one is our yellow. We're going to drag that one over. Okay, so I've started it for you. You can continue on your own to do all of the rest. So remember to look at your code. Long A words will be orange. Long O words will be blue. Long I words will be pink. And long U words will be yellow. All right. So if you have questions, come and see me during our office hours. And let's stop sharing this one. And we have one more worksheet for reading that I'll present to you now. And this one has to do with our story we read today called Room to Grow. So, an autobiography is a kind of narrative nonfiction that tells the true story of a person's life in chronological order. That means in the order that it happened. After reading the autobiography called Room to Grow, answer the questions below. What is the setting of the story? Who is the narrator? So the setting is where this story takes place. Who is the narrator? So who is telling the story? And we're going to move down here to these boxes. In the beginning of the story, why does Mama make Kiku an indoor garden? So now we're going to have to look, at our boxes. going to have to make this a little smaller. Okay, and so we're going to look in these boxes and we're going to find the one that answers the question. In the beginning of the story, why does Mama make Kiku an indoor garden? Is it, I learned to make the most of a small compact space? Is it Jill admires her indoor garden? She told me so much about it. Is it I was scared no one would be my friend? Is it our plot is very small, there is so much we want to grow? Is it the tallest box went close to the back of the wall, the shortest box was in front? Or is it our new home in Portland had no yard? There wasn't even a tiny plot of land. So she grew it indoor because their new home had no yard. So I'm going to drag that box right over here because that is the answer to this question. Okay, and we're going to continue to drag the boxes for the rest of the questions, and then we're going to start answering these questions at the bottom and on the next page. So at the beginning of the story, what happened that caused Kiku and Jill to become friends in school? Sorry, this is a little difficult to read. The beginning of the story, what happened that caused Kiku and Jill to become friends in school? So did Kiku explain how life was like at her old home? Did Jill show Kiku her indoor garden? Did Jill and Kiku practice reading and saying their names together? Did Kiku make Jill tea at her house? So remember, this is how they became friends at school. Some of these other things may have happened, but they are not the way that they became friends. So they became friends when they were practicing reading together and then pronouncing their names. So I'm going to drag this circle right over here to the C because C is the correct answer. Okay, then I'm going to move on to the next page and do the same things. So we're going to answer each of these questions, drag the circle over to show our correct answer about our story. Remember, it's always okay to go back to the story, so you can go back to the video, look at the story to make sure that you are finding text evidence to support your answers. Stop sharing this one. So those are all of your reading assignments for today. I hope you enjoyed the story Room to Grow and that you will go back and take a look at it again yourself. All right, enjoy. Reading is really an enjoyable thing to do, and I hope that you enjoy these assignments. See you later. Bye.